for daring to advise Nigerians against the ruling party, APC. I will break your powers and nothing will happen. This seems to be the fight between the Labour Minister and Asuu chairman. Now our discussion be this. My name is ADS. Make we run and see the hot no time.
Environment in the university so that the students are brought back to school through the vice chancellors, and we continue to teach them. Once again, we appreciate you, the Honourable Minister.
Proud to today, the peculiarity of the medical and dental training was increasingly emasculated, triggered by bodies that capitalize on the lack of a voice for medical and dental practitioners in academics, particularly in the university system.
In view of the above, I, Senator Dr. Chris Ngige, Officer of the Niger, OM, in the exercise of the power conferred on me as Honorable Minister of Labour and Employment, do hereby approve the registration of 1. Congress of Nigeria University Academics, CONUA.
After the Labour Minister, Chris Ngige, accused the Academic Staff Union of Universities, Asuu chairman, of advising Nigerians to vote out the ruling APC government. This happens to be his most recent move to deal with the union. Registering 2 factional unions to rub shoulders with Asuu and maybe convince their members, if they have any, to get back to the classroom and teach our students. The unions registered by the Labour Minister are Congress of Nigeria Universities Academics, CONUA, and Nigerian Association of Medical and Dental Academics, NAMDA. Most as their name, they even say CONUA, NAMDA. These 2 unions are expected to do the biddings of the Labour Minister, which includes taking lecturers back to the classroom to teach our students. But do they have members to pull this through? We will find out very soon. Also, there has been a blame match bordering on corruption between the leadership of Asuu, headed by Professor Emmanuel Osodeki, and Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari. This is what Buhari said that prompted pointing accusing fingers between the 2 parties. Watch.
Are concerned about the manifestation of various forms of corruption in our universities. For example, use different terminologies to describe different forms of corruption they experience on our campuses. There is sorting or cash for marks, grades, sex for marks, sex for grade alterations, examination malpractice, and so on. Sexual harassment has assumed an alarming proportion. Other forms of corruption include payroll padding or ghost workers, lecturers taking a full-time appointment in more than 1 academic institution, including private institutions, lecturers writing seminar papers, projects, and dissertations for students for a fee. I am happy to note that ICPC is investigating and prosecuting sexual harassment as abuse of power in our educational institutions.
Buhari's corruption charge against the university lecturers bordered on sex for marks, sex for grades, alterations, exam malpractice, sexual harassment, payroll padding, ghost workers, lecturers taking a full-time appointment in more than 1 academic institution, including private institutions. This is Asuu's chairman response. Watch.
I'm Emmanuel Osodeke, president of Asuu. I want to speak on a number of issues, 2 or 3 of them. One, the issue of corruption in the system. You see, in the past 7 years, we'll be talking about it. Well, are we acting? I'm sure as we speak to, there are not less than 1,000 cases of corruption in Nigerian university among VCs and councils. How many have been prosecuted? That is the question we should ask ourselves. We're in a country where if you don't punish, nobody takes things serious. So we talk. In my university, where I am, there are not less than 20 cases against a vice chancellor who left to the ICPC, EFCC, the police. But nothing happened. And today he's going to be awarded the national honor. So we should be acting. 2, regulations. About 6 years ago, the NUC, because if you look at the accreditation procedure, the guideline, it's nothing. Every university will pass through. And we were challenged to develop for them, and we did. It was never implemented. If you can have a visiting lecturer score half a point. So if you have 10 visiting lecturers, you already have 5 lecturers. Is that correct? But they are not acted upon. And 2, how many councils have been punished? We had to go on this strike. The law is very clear. We believe there are corruption in the system. There are malfeasance in the system. But the law that was enacted, the University Miscellaneous Act, and every university law is aware of that and indicated that a visitor every 5 years will set a high-power delegation called visitation panel to a university to check corruption, check how universities are run, check everything, I check. It took 11 years and was tried before this panel was composed. I will not encourage corruption. The panel came in March 2021. We are in October 2022. The results is not out. The white paper is not out. I will not encourage corruptions.
Next point.
Appointment of vice chancellors and governing councils. Let me start with councils. In the good old days, you don't appoint politicians who are looking for job as pro-chancellor and member of governing council. But we go and check all the pro-chancellors. They are partisan politicians looking for job. So they come. A vice chancellor appointed either based on village or based on community or based on religion. Is there any part of this country, a federal university, where you have a vice chancellor from another region? Not to talk about that country. Nigerians are vice chancellor all over most countries in the world, all over the world. Can you have a Hausa man be vice chancellor in the southeast or southwest? So we have destroyed this finally because of the time. When you now remove the university, the power of the university, and give to the bureaucrat, you have destroyed the system. A vice chancellor see a high power professor that you need to hire for a program. For you to, I think Taurika said that very well. For you to employ that, you have to go out to the head of service and say, please let me employ this person. Where does that happen in the world? Finally, somebody also mentioned the issue of, I think it's the first of IPPIS, a university that have a council empowered with management of finances of a university. Now that council does not even know how it's employed, who is paid, and how they are being paid. Taken to an office of accountant general. In which part of the world are we having that? So my idea is that I want to appeal to ICPC. Please prosecute those who have done wrong. We are tired of talking. Anybody who has done wrong, investigate and prosecute. Let the world see that one vice chancellor or one pro-chancellor or whatever, or lecturer who has misbehaved has gone to jail. When you do that, the system will change. Not talking. We like talking as a country people. We don't like acting.
It is very interesting that both parties admit that corruption has become a pandemic in the educational sector in this country. This strike action has revealed so many things wrong with the education in this country. And this is the right time to provide solutions almost immediately to save this decaying sector of our development. From what the Asuu chairman said, our universities need total overhauling and everybody put on check. There must be check and balancing. Corruption not supposed to be inside education. It don't make sense. When they hear me so, politics should be far far, far, far away from our education. Appointments and job offers within this sector should be based on merit, not connection. I know this person. I know that person. That shouldn't work in our educational sector. With all what has happened since the Asuu strike began 7 months ago, the Labour Minister, in his wisdom, still registered 2 factional unions to break the rank of Asuu. Here was Professor Atehiru Jega, former Asuu chairman and former INEC boss. Here waiting him talk on top this matter. Watch.
To be honest and to be very frank with you, I believe personally, and I have been there, what we see now is similar to what we saw in 1988 to 1990, when the Babangida regime at that time had people who were telling them that the Asuu people are only troublemakers, they are extremists, they don't mean well for the country, and therefore whatever they said, no matter the genuineness of the demands that they put on the table, these are not looked at. They are just looked at from the perspective of people who are troublemakers, who are trying to cause trouble for us. And this, remember, Asuu is probably one of the strongest unions of intellectuals in this country. Issues they put on the table for discussion and negotiation are well thought out. Regrettably, government representation in negotiations does not take these issues with the seriousness it deserves. So what happens? Negotiations will go on, government team will not pay attention or cannot counter the arguments that Asuu present. At the end of it, they agree to an agreement, they now take it to government, and government will say this agreement is unrealistic. So those are some of the challenges. And unfortunately right now, and I want to say it here because I have this opportunity, the Minister of Labour is not helping matters. He has turned this into a personal quarrel between him and the Minister of Education on the one hand, and between himself and the Academic Staff Union on the other. And while many other people are trying to find a way of addressing this situation so that students can go back to school and the Asuu can go back to work, he is busy creating challenges. He now took the matter to the industrial court. The industrial court also has appealed. Now, today, he now registered 2 unions, and he's trying to proscribe the Academic Staff Union of Universities. If this is allowed by this government, I think this is a recipe for disaster.
This is truly a recipe for disaster. First, government was still trying to find a common ground with Asuu when the Labour Minister rushed to National Industrial Court to force lecturers back to the classroom. Secondly, the leadership of the Federal House of Assembly had a meeting with Asuu and other stakeholders involved, of which the Labour Minister and his team were in that meeting. The best the Labour Minister could do was to walk out on the leadership of the House after accusing Asuu chairman of campaigning against the ruling party. His absence didn't end the meeting, though. The House, headed by the Speaker, Honorable Femi Bajabiamila, again made headways with the union and has gone ahead to meet with Mr. President with the resolutions from the meeting. And now, the same Labour Minister has taken 10 steps ahead of everyone to register 2 factional unions to break the ranks of Asuu. What Ngige cannot do does not exist. This in itself isn't a good way to resolve conflicts now. Let's hope something is done really quick to avert this disaster awaiting our universities. This is a disaster waiting to take down university education in this country. Finally, is the election cycle. With the right leaders, issues like this won't take long to resolve. Clean up your PVC and let's sanitize the corridors of power come next election. Vote wise, vote right. I will see you again. Follow us on all our social media channels showing on your screen right now. Until I see you again, my name is ADS. Signing out.